Welcome to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Hey, that's me. Hi, and welcome to Positive Talk. Our show features the best positive stories and people from around the globe as we endeavor to answer the universal question of why am I here and what is my purpose? Understanding that can change everything, and knowing your greatness is fundamental to living your best life. So join us right now as together we work to create the adventure of our lifetime. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I have a story for you. First of all, hey, Rochelle, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm awesome. Well, you know me. I do a show
Yes.
called Positive Talk. I don't know if you've heard of it, but
Oh
I
no.
have. So, but Rochelle, I got a question to ask you.
Yes.
If you were in your car with your
hmm
niece, and by the way, Jason Stewart says hello to everybody. And
Hi,
if you were in
Jason.
your car with your niece and you were driving by and you see a traffic stop and you see gunfire and and it hits the truck and almost hits you, and then you and it almost hits your niece, and you're having cancer at the same time, would you think that's a bad day?
I think, maybe some of the odds might be against me right now, but what else do I have to protect me?
Exactly. Would you like to introduce the gentleman that this has all happened to?
Yes, I would love to. We have Dwayne Morton here joining us in on the show today. How are you, Dwayne?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much.
Good.
Thank you so much for the listeners for taking the time to listen to us. And one of the things I always love to say is just let them know that I believe time is the most valuable commodity. And when people give me that and able to allow me to share my story or allow to share my experiences, that just hits me in the heart that, someone cares enough and wants to help better themselves or hear what I have to say. So I just want to say thank you because I'm a big believer in gratitude. And the same thing, I want to thank you so much, Kevin, for inviting me on and Rochelle. And I'm looking forward to just having a conversation and just sharing my story and seeing how many people we can help through it.
And by the way, if you're listening to this or actually watching it live, you can go to the comment section and you can type in a comment, and we will give you your 5 minutes of fame. So, so, but Dwayne, it's great to have you here. Now, did I misrepresent any of that? Did those things actually happen?
So I was in a car, I was in a truck. It was actually a Chevrolet Avalanche. Actually, that was not the car I owned. It actually was my father's car, truck. If I would have been driving the SUV that day, those circumstances probably would have been changed. And I honestly grabbed my car keys first, and something in my gut just said drive a truck. Like my vehicle had been having issues with tire pressure, and I just didn't. I had my niece. I didn't want to get stranded. So luckily, I drove that truck that day. Luckily, that bullet hit that C pillar, which is where the roof and the bed meet. Is that piece of metal? And if that thing would have been an eighth of an inch to the left, that thing gets me. Like it kills me. Eighth of an inch to the right, I have my 3-year-old niece in the back seat. So that would be the best way to portray that story. And then, for me is like, it's a very big part of my story. It's like, it's one of the bigger things that's happened to me, but I'm such a little part of that story because an officer lost his life that day. I had friends who were, really good friends with him too. So it was definitely different. And I live in a small town. Like there's less than 5,000 people. So that would be the best way to portray that story.
Well, and some of those people are listening into us right now. So don't be nervous. You've only got 1 million people listening.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've taken shots in front of, some crowds and I've missed shots in front of crowds. And so I'm just looking forward to just this experience, getting to be better. Also like be able to share the story, just be open and candid about it. There was a lot of moments where, yes, the shooting is a big part, but what it was it made me look at like, whoa, I was so close, but what can I do afterwards? And then,
Oh,
like the bigger part is where I found out I was misdiagnosed last year. on March 8th of 2024. And that whole journey was that was where I was like, I was the wind up toy that just was being held. And if you ever done that and you feel the energy in those little toys, like they want to move. That's the way I was. Like I was always waiting to just be released. And lo and behold, I was fortunate enough that it was my seventh doctor actually who released me. And he just saw something and he was like, "You don't have this." He's like, "I feel like you have either COPD or sleep apnea." And I ended up having sleep apnea. I was pretty much healthy. Honestly, the anniversary was actually like a couple of days ago of me getting on a CPAP. So this is all very new. This is a year. This whole journey has happened in almost a year.
Well, yeah, I can only imagine when somebody says, "Mr. McDonald, you have cancer." Just kidding. That that would be a heck of a relief, and also like, why did you say I had cancer in the first place? But in any event, what we want to talk about today more so is your website and what you're doing and how those things have shaped your life in a completely different way. And by the way, if you want to follow along, you can go to Show Up to Win, and that's a number 2 win.com. And I love the website. It's very well done. And tell us what you're doing now on behalf of the website and what you're doing.
So I'm a resilience coach. I feel like I'm an expert. I've been through it twice, so I feel like I kind of know a little bit about some mindset things. Also, I've been mentored by some really good people. I was mentored by someone who was mentored by Jim Rohn, and he actually mentored Jim Rohn in public speaking. And so I had him, and he was always like, I was mentored by him for 12 years, and he just was always like making sure I was positive. Like your attitude is your altitude, like those type of things. And so for me, once I became healthy, I knew, hey, I've been playing it small. I've been really in self-sabotage. But also one of the things was like, I wasn't living up to what I wanted and how I wanted to live a legacy. And so once you start making those type of questions to yourself and how can I do these type of things, then you realize how resilient you are. And so I coach people in resilience. I coach younger athletes like high school to go to D1, which is Division I basketball. And I'm showing them how I was able to overcome going from I didn't play my last 2 years of high school basketball to playing overseas. And so it's a small part of my life, but it still was an accomplishment. And it was actually one of the dreams I had was to play past high school. And so I'm teaching people that. And then, I feel I have a business part that I've been mentored very well with. And so Show Up to Win is this part that I feel like umbrellas my whole idea. I believe when you show up like I'm doing today, I'm showing up with intention, but I'm showing up and being present. I'm not just showing up in attendance. So many people just say show up, and most people just think all they gotta do is sit in that seat. I don't believe in that. I don't subscribe to that mentality at all. There's times that I did, and it got me nowhere. And so when I started really honing into what my true belief is and to how I was brought up, that's what you're getting today.
Well, it's interesting because did you ever watch The Secret?
I did not watch it, but I've read the book, and I love books. But I have a mentor who has been mentored by Bob Proctor, so I'm all about The Secret.
Oh, very nice, very nice, and rest his soul, Bob Proctor. I didn't get a chance to meet him, but I did get a chance to meet James Arthur Ray, who was one of the principal people in The Secret in the movie. And what he says, because The Secret talks about the law of intention and doing stuff, but you're absolutely right, because you can have the best of intentions, but if you don't take action, nothing's liable to happen for you. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, I agree. I'm an action taker. I mean, so I look at it this way. There's really two absolute truths. Like in just a human form, and then not even a spiritual form, but like the two absolute truths I know is the sun comes up, the sun comes down. For me, I get to add on to that my parents love me, and I know God loves me. Like, but once I go through those absolute truths, everything is pretty easy. I mean, it's at least simple, which makes it easier. I'll put it that way. And so I look at it. I live my day through that. I live my day through gratitude. Like, one of the things that I will be giving the listeners is my daily routine. I call it Dwayne's daily plan of attack. It's based on gratitude, self-care, movement, and adaptability. I feel like if you do those 4 things, you're going to live a pretty good day and you're going to live a pretty good life.
Rochelle, what do you think?
I think this is absolutely all amazing. I'm thinking about what you've been through and how it shifted where your mindset was, and then what you chose to do with that. Is going through all those things what got you to want to start this website and to just push to help even more people to understand what you had to go through to understand?
Yes. So, what I'm saying is like it became internal. Like I got inspired. Inspired is so different than motivation. When I wake up, I want to help people. I've always been a helper, but I've always wanted to help people. I want to make a better community because the better community makes a better world. And when we subscribe to that, we get a lot better things than what we got going on. And we stop the division and those type of things. But ultimately, my job is to help others, to support others. There's people that do a really great job of it, and there's people that really do a terrible job of it. It's all about them, and they stay in the victim mentality. So the other part of what I will say is there's a part of Dwayne's life where I was in that victim mentality. It took people to help me, right? Like, and that's the thing is I was just fortunate to go through and find the right people that crossed my path to like give me the advice. Here's the thing. You have a choice and you can make a decision, and then there's consequences to it. For me, when I ran across the right people, I made a choice. I made the decision to like get to know them, pick their brain, have a relationship, and that decision has paid off very well for me.
And
Well, and
go ahead.
I just had to say I absolutely love that you say it like that, because it's almost like the time is continuing to pass, and Jason says awesome journey, Dwayne, which of course, because it really comes down to what you've said, kind of the way it adds up with what you talk about with time. You made a decision to let someone else have your time and allow them to give you their time. And now you've crossed over into the other way of, okay, now I can provide to give to somebody else's time if they will make the decision to allow me to. And kind of what that's like, because I'm imagine you work with a lot of kids, and it's they're in that decision making mode. They're realizing what can be between the 1 and 2. It's really A or B. Like, are you going to be positive or are you going to be negative? Because it's hard to balance both. And so, what's things that you tell them or do with them that helps them trust in themselves before they even try to make decisions?
Yeah. So my very first appointment that I have meeting, whatever you will say, with these people is I let them know that like I care about them. Like I 100% care about you. Like whether this is the last appointment or not, like whether you go on and play in the major leagues or you go on and play in the NBA or college, whatever. Like I care about you. But here's the thing. If you want to be a better athlete, I can help you. Here's the big grand scope of it. You probably think you know how to play a game, or even just like if we even go into the business part, you probably know how to run. You think you know how to run a business, but you're coming to me for a reason because I'm an expert. That's the thing. So you have to be coachable and teachable. If we're not on that, but I just show that I care. And when they realize that I care and support, they buy in. They immediately buy in because you're not used to that. And I think that's the most important. Think about when people actually care about you. You feel better about yourself. Not only do you feel better about yourself, you usually perform better. Things actually, if you're in a learning type environment and you're learning a new skill, you usually learn it a little bit quicker too. That's the other thing.
Yep. Yeah.
And by the way, we're talking with Dwayne Morton. And if you go to his website, show up to win with the number 2. win.com. And, you know, Dwayne, you said something earlier that I want to focus on a little bit, because you said that you were, if I remember correctly, it was so long ago, what, say 7 minutes ago. But you said that you were fortunate enough to run into all of these great people. I would like to suggest that there was no accident there, that was all by divine timing and purpose, because you opened yourself up to it, you said yes, you trusted, and then you went through that door. And when we come back, I want you to tell me if that's remotely true, or do I need to be on medication? We will be right back after this. At 67 years young, I never thought I'd feel this good again. But thanks to Purium's Ultimate Transformation Lifestyle, to date, I've lost 37 pounds and gained energy, confidence, and a whole new outlook on life. This isn't a diet. Purium is a complete lifestyle change, giving me all the natural, organic, nutrition-packed superfoods that fuel my body, crush my cravings, and help me burn fat naturally without starving myself. No gimmicks, no guesswork, just a simple, proven system that works. Superfood shakes, detox support, and real results. If I can do this at 67, imagine what you can do. It's your time to feel better, look better, and live better with Purium. Let's do it now, and let's do it together. Go to www.positivetalkradio.net and click on the Transform You to get started. That's positivetalkradio.net. Transform You. And welcome back to Positive Talk with Rochelle and me, Kevin McDonald. And we have a great guest for you today. Dwayne Morton is with us. And Dwayne, I asked you a question before we went to break, and I'm hopeful that you remember the question, because I may have trouble repeating it. But do you think it was an accident that you met all these great people, or was it a plan?
I believe it's not something that like I could even dream on, and that's why you know that it's like the true universe and God doing it. It's divine. I tell people all the time when I talk about my story, when I was a young kid, my aunt and my mom would always tell me I was special. It was when I got into elementary school when all that got blurred, and I quit believing it. But I'm sitting here right now, and I'll tell you right now that like I'm Superman if I want to be Superman. And I'm telling you right now, I'm freaking Superman. Like I am that guy. I mean, when I say it, it's not, I have it with conviction. And the reason I have it with conviction is like, I'm divinely protected. And when you realize that, and you run life through like it's like a video game. Like, hey, I'm just in a video game, and I am going to do everything in my power to test my limitations every day. And that's how I live my life. And I will tell you, it took a while to get here, but it took me crossing the paths of these people. There was no accident at all, because guess what? Every person that I ran into, I was ready to have that conversation with. Mm-hmm. If it would have been a week earlier, I would not have had that. I'll give you an example. Chuck DeBroder is a master hypnotist. I was in a random Zoom with him. I was talking about dealing with this shooting that the 3-year anniversary is coming up here in 15 days. He says, hey man, I think I can help you. I'm a master hypnotist. Guess what? I had the conversation with him. Guess who went through hypnosis? The trauma was on a level 9, a level 8, maybe a level 10 from the misdiagnosis and from the shooting. Chuck made it neutral, made it where I could talk to you guys right now. And afterwards, I'm not pissed off. I'm not upset. I can go take a nap. If it was not for me doing those type of healing modalities, I don't know where I would be. But we had that conversation about 2 weeks before, where I was thinking about it. I was just like, I don't know, but I want to look into it. It just so happened I meet the right person. That is not by accident. That is by true divine intervention.
You know, Rochelle, I got to tell you, first of all, Dwayne, we do a bunch of 15-minute meetings back to back to back. And then we do shows, oftentimes when we do that, a general theme comes out for the day that everybody ends up talking about, and it all revolves around the same thing, which is that life is a magnificent journey, and you're always going to be learning through everything that you have, all the experiences, both good and bad. And if you treat it right, and if you have the right mindset, then it becomes a magnificent adventure. And Michelle, we've talked about that a bunch today, haven't we?
We have. I think it's crazy that you mentioned that too, because I've been paying attention to how when you're still, I want to talk to you about this, Dwayne, too, of being still in the moment, being present where you're at. That's kind of been a theme we've been talking about with a lot of guests that's been going on now is, are you present? Are you in the past? Are you in the future? And for whatever reason causes that. But to be able to be still and what you start to see around you. If you wake up and you ask for integrity, you're going to get reasons to have integrity that day. If you wake up and you're focused on gratitude, you're going to see a million and one things that make you feel like you are so grateful for them. If you like what you're focused on is really what you see, and not just in a positive sense, but in any sense. What you're focused on thinking about, where your mind is at, is your lens and it's your thinking guide. And a lot of times it's not just through the day, it's weeks and months and years of maybe a specific trauma that you held that is just almost impossible to let go until you, of course, make the decision to do so. So brings me back to my question, which is being present. Like, what is your ideology around that?
Yeah. So first of all, I think we are in seasons. Like it's like a baseball seasons, and how we go through it and we learn the lesson. Then it's like that season's over and we turn the page. Same
Right.
with
Yeah.
friends, those type of things. So I'll just tell you, like with just like with love, like there's times when I told you I've never been married, never had kids. Like there's that page where I'm dealing with, and I'm dealing with all these traumas that I wasn't aware of. And so being present to me is truly where I am focused right here, right now. If I take a breath in and I breathe out, I'm a better person than I was before that breath. Like it's true, just being still and being in that moment to just know I am here. And also, one of the things I like to do is just, I'm a touch person. So sometimes I will just take my thumb to my finger and just kind of press, just so I know, hey, I am here, I am present, but also sometimes you just gotta wake yourself up. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just do things that are, and I've been doing this for a while. I just never knew about it. And then when I started studying some of this stuff, and I was like, this makes a lot more sense than now. Now I actually know why I did things and why those type of things had the impact I did. And so it's like with the shooting, I calmed myself down because I knew, in a basketball game, you take a breath before a free throw. They tell you to control your breath, but I
Yep.
truly didn't know like breath work. Like I just did not know it. But then when I was talking to someone, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's like breath work." And like and that's actually something that I'm talking about in the book. Is just for that particular reason, is because it's something that I feel like, oh, I've been applying it. I just didn't know the education piece of it. But presence, I feel, is just try to figure out a way so you are here, and that part of the past is kind of left behind. I hope I answered that correctly.
Yeah. No, there's no right or wrong answer at all. Really, it's perspective. And that's why I wanted to ask you because we all have a perspective. There is not or right or wrong. It's just whatever we choose. And something I said in an interview earlier today was whatever you say, you're right. Whatever you think, you're right. Because your brain literally believes you. It doesn't know any better. And the awareness of that can be challenging, though, especially when you've been through something that's been hard, because now you're aware of it, but now you also know that you can do things to change it, which for some people, I feel like that helps them. It brings a lot of relief. For some people, maybe it's a little more challenging.
Yeah, I mean, so our experiences shape our beliefs, and so
Right.
our beliefs are really lies. I mean, you look at those three letters in the middle of it, and so that should tell you all you need to know. And so I just try to take that video game approach and just be very uncomfortable. So, you asked me if I was nervous. No, I'm not nervous, because like I have to live in this uncomfortable part if I want to get to where I want to get. It's the same thing with basketball. I had to go play with people that were either more talented than I was, and I had to get my ass kicked every time, and that's fine because I grew from it and I got better. And that's really how I'm approaching this life thing. It's just that unfortunately, I had that diagnosis in 2006, so it put me what most people would look at as behind, but it really didn't. What it did was it just allowed me to like be patient, be in the wilderness, wait, and realize like how much I wanted it. And every night I would go to bed and I was like, I don't understand why I met Melvin Turner Sr., who's like a dude that worked with Jim Rowe. Like, it doesn't not make sense. Like, why am I getting all these opportunities to meet these type of people and I'm sick? Or every time I would work really hard. And, for me, I got my mortgage broker license, and Quinn Bernhardt, like, he hired me, and like, I was ready to set the world on fire. And guess what? I ended up getting sick. And so it just was like, I kept saying, I was like, if I could just be healthy, what would happen? And then when I got healthy, I mean, I was just like, hey, I'm not going to let this moment pass. I'm going to heal. I'm going to take my time. And then after that, I'm going to own every moment. And that's the way I've been living. 2025 has been insane for me. I recorded 25 podcasts in the month of January. I recorded 15 podcasts in February. I recorded 5 or 7 in March. We had some technology problems. I had the flu, but I wanted to be a host. So I knew, hey, I wanted to be a guest. So I want to know how they feel on that other side. And so that's how I've been doing it. It's like, I just been testing myself. And today on May 1st, I decided, hey, I'm going to start 75 hard. Like, I want to see what my limitations are, and I want to push myself.
Which is why we're all here. I got to tell you, because your story brings this up. Have you ever heard of about the 50,000 foot view?
Yes, I love it.
Oh, you're the first person that. For those that are not, well, then explain it to our audience for us today.
Well, so it's the view where you can take it all in and to see the best perspective from the far perspective. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to see who didn't take out the trash. Like, you don't see that. You don't even see people. You just see all the beauty of how everything was laid out. It just looks like a map. I mean, so it's kind of like if you were walking and you see an ant in the anthill, like, that's the type of perspective. And so you don't really know what that ant's thinking and doing. You just know there's an ant. And so the 50,000 foot view, anything and everything is just taking a broad perspective and look at it from a broader scope. And so I feel like I gave a good explanation, but that's my interpretation of it.
Let me give you mine.
Okay.
Every day, we are walking through the forest. We get to see the tree in front of us. We get to see the tree behind us. We don't care about the tree behind us because we're past that tree, but we're taking steps in the forest. We can't see very far ahead. We can't see what's coming our way, but there are forces in the universe that do. And when they are working in conjunction with you, what they have is the 50,000 foot view. So when you say, like you did, I want to be of service and I want to do these things and I want to make it work. The universe conspired with you. Bob Proctor says this. The universe conspired with you to say, okay, he said, yes, now we can take action. So now while you are trusting that you're walking in the right direction, they are guiding you. And occasionally when you start walking in the wrong direction, they'll make an adjustment for you. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard, but they'll make an adjustment because of where you say you want to go. They're conspiring with you to do that. And as long as you keep trusting and saying yes to people like you have, and the great things are going to come your way. Does that mean your life is cupcakes and rainbows all the time? No, but you understand the broader consequences and the broader appeal of everything because you can now look at it and say, the universe has my back, and they're going to help me achieve what I say I want to do. Not what they say I want to do, but what I say I want to do. And that's what their job is. Rochelle, have I said that reasonably well?
Yes, and what's crazy is I think I would have even a different perspective on both of you. So it's
But go
it's
ahead.
just really cool. Well, we'll take the break right after this, but my take on it is more of like you. Okay, I'll relate it to a bouncy ball. And if you are only at the first floor, you can only bounce the bouncy ball so high, right? So you can only get it to go so high. The higher up you go, the more you can bounce it or whatever. Let's say get a bigger bouncy ball. But you can only see where you're at. And you have to keep in mind that there's so many layers and there's so many levels to things. We are not here to understand. Trust is huge when it's different than just someone else. Trust in yourself, trust in the universe, trust in God, trust in anything that is more than just you. It's terrifying, but it is so beautiful because you can be walking through the forest, you can be walking through China, you can be walking through a desert. It doesn't matter where you're at, but it matters your perspective. You can be in the same place at the same time, but have a different perspective based on how high up or far down you are. And once you get to the 50,000-foot view, you can see all the layers through it and look down and understand the world and people just a little bit more. So,
And Rochelle, I want you to change one word in that.
okay.
It's no longer terrifying. It's exhilarating.
It's exhilarating.
And we'll be right back.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
As you go about your daily life, look closer. As you gather with family and friends who love and support you, look closer. There are youth right in your community who don't have the home, warmth, and healing you have. So look closer. Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. And for 50 years, Covenant House has worked relentlessly to keep them safe and protected. Tonight, 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed. And tomorrow, they will wake up surrounded by love. They get clean clothes, hot meals, medical care, and a safe place to sleep. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In sites across America to help them fulfill the great promise of their lives. So look closer at Covenant House. To help or get help, go to covenanthouse.org.
And welcome back to Positive Talk. We've got a great guest for you today. His name is Dwayne Morton, and he's got a website called Show Up to Win, and he's got a coaching business, and he is a motivational guy, and he's met some really cool people and stuff. So I got to ask you, 5 years ago, did you have any idea that you'd be where you are today?
Hell no. Nope. Nope. I thought I was dying. I really did. I was. So when 2006, I was originally given 5 years, and then later on it was 15. So that 15 was up in 2021. So when that shooting happened in 22, I was like, okay, I don't understand. Like, why did I get a miracle now? So it made me kind of like think. But then, so 5 years ago, 2020, no, like we were going through the pandemic. Like people were masking up. People were looking for toilet paper. I was just like, hey, I just need food and can I play video games? That was it. Like I was already in that content mode of like, hey, no, I'm serious. There was a period of my life, man, where video games was like my thing. And I needed that to be competitive, but like I didn't do the movement part because I was getting frustrated. And the reason I was getting frustrated was because I was like, hey, I'm not able to do certain things. And so I want to be able to tell people so they can really relate to me. I was depressed. I had anxiety. I gained weight. All of these things. So when I graduated high school, I was 155. I'm 6'2". When I was 29 and when I got diagnosed, I was 190, 195. And then, at my highest, I got up to 255. And like, I know some people are like, well, that's not that bad. it was bad for me. I would wake up and I was just like, I feel like crap. So the other thing is like I felt like I had the flu. So people who've had the flu, no one likes it. And when I had it in March, I'll go ahead and tell you, I was there was a part of me that was like, whoa, I think maybe they got this wrong. And then I realized, oh no, my dad has the flu. And so if my dad didn't have the flu, I probably would have took that in different. But I also knew that like we get tests, right? It's like what you were talking about. So I knew that anniversary was coming up on March 8th. And it's like, this happened March 1st. I was like, oh, it's to show me, to let me know, hey, in mass gratitude and be like, hey, this is just the flu. I'm healthy. It's just the flu. This is not like a recurring thing. And so that lesson was so true. But in 2020, man, I was not in that place. I was not that dude. I didn't want to be that dude. I didn't want to speak. I didn't want to be in front of people. I went through social anxiety. There's so much that I could tell about all of that. When I went to Kroger to get groceries, I had a handicapped parking tag. A lady threw a Campbell's can at me and said, "You do not look like you are sick. You do not need a handicapped parking tag." The thing is, I needed a handicapped parking tag to go get groceries because every time I walked, I would just gas out. So like most of the time I would go to Kroger, and if I wasn't able to like get in and get out, I would just be like, I would just run out of gas, and I would be like, okay, I'm just gonna grab one or two items. I'm out. Like that was my life, man. It was like for people to really understand it, it's like people with severe fatigue syndrome, they look pretty normal. That's what I had. But also what happened was I woke up every day and I had a quarter tank of gas to go through the whole day. And there was times I skipped a lot of self-care things, skipped a lot of stuff. I mean, just to kind of give you guys an instance is like, I missed my best friend's wedding. I missed my uncle's wedding. And on top of it, I missed one of my friends' wedding who was just like, hey, I just love for you to attend. I mean, I missed funerals. I missed all kinds of stuff. And it wasn't anything that I wanted to do. So in 2020, man, when all this COVID stuff, and I was like, okay, I was like, this is the end of the world or something. I don't know. Like, I mean, honestly, I was at this point where I was just like, I don't understand how I'm not dead yet, but like, I'm grateful to not be dead. And also I've never been suicidal on this whole path. So, and that was always something that like people were like, some people would come up to me and were like, are you suicidal? Like, I just seen you don't seem like yourself. I'm like, I just don't feel good. And so I think when it's like you were talking about the different perspective, I like to call it the 6 and 9. It's just walking around the circle. That's it. Like so when people who have these different illnesses and that they have these issues, I can relate to them because I went through it. It just so happened all I had was severe sleep apnea, and I was able to get it fixed in 2 days.
Wow. So it took those 5 years to find those 2 days?
Yeah. So honestly, a year ago at the end of April,
Mm-hmm.
it was the first time I slept. There was like, when you really look at sleep, the one thing that I will say, and this is probably why I'm the way I am with the doctor who diagnosed me,
Mm-hmm.
it was me. It was me. I was the problem. I didn't look at sleep the right way. I looked at, I will sleep later on when I'm dead. I would push myself like 3-4 hours of sleep all the time. And so, I mean, I did that. I wanted to hustle. I wanted to do those type of things. No one said, hey, you can't sleep. And so I absolutely, when I sleep anywhere between 6 and 8 hours, mandatory for me. I look at it as one of the biggest things for me. That's one of the biggest changes is I sleep.
So you're telling me that they diagnosed you with cancer based off of you only sleeping a few hours?
Yeah. So I was diagnosed with a rare blood cancer in 2006. It was so rare that they really didn't know what it was. And the way that it was portrayed to me was that eventually it would get worse. They didn't know where I was in it. And a lot of the symptoms are fatigue and your blood gets thick. And so all of that just kind of played in part. And if you look up with sleep apnea, it's kind of the same.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And so so you got a diagnosis in 2006, and you didn't get the new diagnosis for like what, 10, 15 years?
No, I just got it last year, so 18 years.
So you were living with you believing, because this is what they were telling you, that you were on a short timeline and you're going to expire at virtually any time. What was your mindset? How did you feel when the doctor said, I don't know what these other guys are talking about, but you don't have that? You got sleep apnea.
Yeah, so I actually, it's kind of funny. I was praying for it every day. And then when the miracle came, I asked the doctor, "Are you sure?" Like, I was like, "Are you sure?" Like, the dude releases me, and I'm like, "Are you sure?" Like, what kind of crazy thing is what was I smoking? I mean, I have no idea. I mean, and that's the thing is like when we get miracles, we just don't even believe them sometimes. That was how I was. I was dumbfounded. My legs were like, I actually even was kind of. I wasn't arguing with him. I was like, "Man, I've had this for like a long time. Are you sure?" Like, he was a brand new doctor. That's the other thing. He was my seventh doctor, but he was a brand new doctor. And so here's the thing, Kevin and Rochelle. I could be mad, I could be upset, but here's the thing. I live my life this way. If I want grace, I have to give grace. The same thing with the shooting. The guy
Yeah.
was trying to defend his life, right? Same thing. Like, if I was defending my life, I hope somebody else would be like a little understanding. And so I don't think any of those situations were done maliciously, because I wouldn't have done them maliciously either. But I want grace, so I'm going to give grace, and it's not easy. But that's the beautiful thing about forgiveness, man. It's for us as much as it is for the other person, and sometimes it's even more.
Well, and
I
what
agree.
we like to say around here in these parts is you got to forgive yourself before you can forgive anybody else. Do you believe that?
I do believe that. I do believe that, and there's a reason why. It sets us free, and we think it's for the other person to set them free, but it's not. It's for ourselves. Because guess what? If they take the apology, or if they don't, like, it doesn't matter if you're just looking at it from a self lens. It truly is just for that person. And there's people that, like, I would love to say I messed up with, right? But there's a part of where it's pride and ego that stops us. And so it's really it's a way of us diminishing our pride and ego in that way, where we're able to say, "Hey, I made a mistake, I messed up, and would you forgive me?" So it's really for ourselves.
Hmm. I
That
love
is
how
so.
you mentioned that too, because pride has a big thing to do with what I'm seeing, especially in the younger generation right now, with their identity. Who their pride believes they are is who their identity is. And if they lessen that, how can they stay authentic to themselves? If a kid said that to you, or anybody, just for the matter that you're trying to coach through these things, and said, "Well, I don't want to humble myself because I don't want to become naive, or I don't want to lessen who I am," what would you tell them?
They're how old? That's the thing. I will tell them you're this old, and that's your perspective. And the reason why is you haven't had the life experience to understand that, like, you're probably listening to probably something that's on mainstream media, or some type of like music artist, or I mean somebody as you think that like has it figured out. Guess what? They don't. They just make a lot of money. They are good at one thing. They're talented. That's it. Like, they don't have life figured out. There's a reason that most people who are successful, like, they have their demons. It's because they never pass through those demons. So I have a young person that I've helped, that I'm coaching and mentoring, and I told him one day, he was talking about how he couldn't understand why other kids would, I wouldn't say they make fun of him, but they just, like, they don't understand why I'm
Yeah.
getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to lift weights. I want to, as soon as I get done lifting weights, I'm going to run. Like, they don't understand that he has that dream, and he's going to put himself in the best situation. And I told him, I said, listen, these kids don't have your perspective, but also they don't have that destination that you have. They don't even know their destination. Hell, I, it's kind of funny, and I'm gonna say this story, and it's really close to me. Is like, my high school reunions, 30 years like coming up. Probably don't know probably three quarters of them. I know of them, but I mean, it took like this. it took this weird thing on Facebook where I'm like, I don't even know this person. I've never had a conversation with them. Like, and then it was like, okay, hold on a second. And at first, your ego is like, man, I can't believe they never talked to me. And I'm like, nah, man, I never talked to them either. Like, and that's the thing is when you're able to have that type of self-reflection and realize that, like, I didn't see value in myself to go sit beside the cool kids. I didn't have my self-value to say, hey, I'm worthy of being here. Yep. So it's a me problem. And that's the way I tell the kids too, is like, hey, if you want to do it, then do it. If you don't, then you're going to be looking back 10 years and being like, hey, why did I not create that action stuff?
Yep. Well,
so are you going to go to your 30?
Absolutely, man. I enjoyed my, I think it was like our 20th. It was really fun. And like, it was something that was just like, it was an experience of getting to know people and how their lives had changed and the experiences in their lives had changed them. Like, it's honestly, man, this should be like a psychological study. They should take them and put everybody in a study group. I mean, it's amazing. And then what would be really cool is you created a book with that, and then you went and handed it to those 18-year-old kids that just graduate college and say, hey, here you go. This is what really happens. This is what life teaches you. This is the life lesson that you're going to be going through. And maybe you don't go through those type of situations or circumstances, but what you'll do is you'll learn something. And through that whole knowledge of learning, you're going to be able to push through something some obstacle that you felt was either unmovable or.
Exactly. Exactly. By the way, we are again talking with Dwayne Morton, and go to his website, which is showup2win.com. And we need to take a break, and we're going to be right back. Brachelle's power in her computer may have died. But we'll be right back after this important message. Please stay tuned. Hey, do you want your content to stand out and grab attention? Well, we've got the magic touch. Professional video editing that keeps eyes locked on the screen. Photo editing that turns ordinary shots into scroll-stopping visuals. Crisp, clean audio editing for podcasts, ads, and more. Social media posting and scripting so your content isn't just seen, it's remembered. And guess what? We've got even more amazing services waiting just for you. Whether you're a brand, a business, or a content creator, we help you show up and stand out. Spots are limited. Don't wait. Email us now or book a call today and turn your vision into viral-worthy content. Don't wait. Hit us up now. And go to kmmedia.pro and find out more about all that. And welcome back to the show, everybody. My name is Kevin McDonald. Brachelle she was with us, and then now she's not, and hopefully she'll be back soon. And in any event, Dwayne Morton is here, and we're talking about his ventures that he's doing now. So explain to us the adventure that you are taking on now and how exciting it is for you.
Oh, it's super exciting. It's being able to go to, I don't know, I like to look at it as like sitting courtside in an NBA arena, and you get to help people, and you get to go through the beginning of when they have an issue, and then you able to see the light bulb turn on and give them a little bit of advice, and them able to take that step, and then them able to trust you and know that you're there to support them, and then see them go off and do wonderful things and help others. And you just keep repeating that. Like, I've been doing coaching for a long time. I just have, like I said, I've been sick. So, I mean, I've been helping people for a long time. But when we get into business stuff, I've helped other leaders run to six figures. It was just I would get sick before. So they were just, oh, well, forget Dwayne. Like, he just quit. Like, that's the way they looked at it. But there's the beautiful aspect of coaching is having that one person just believe in themselves. And when they believe in themselves, like, the whole thing just is extremely magical. And so my job is to guide them to believe in themselves and to actually see their full potential. and them go on and do, fantastic things, whether that's in business or that's just life in general. For like show up to win, it's based on just showing up with intention and showing up and being like, hey, I'm willing to like go all out for whatever goal or aspiration I have. And so, I love being able to coach the right type of people. But like for me, I also coach mindset with resilience, because guess what? Most people, they are not very adaptable. And I talk about that in the Dwayne's daily plan of attack that I'm giving you guys, is there's this adaptability part that a lot of people miss. Life happens. It's always going to happen. You're going to get the unexpected bill. Someone's going to lose their job. Someone is going to get divorced. All of these things, like that's life, unfortunately. And so when you're able to understand that, like, I can swerve, I can move, I can take my energy and maybe move it a little bit more and make sure I don't hit that center hit of these potholes, and I just maybe tip it or, just barely clip it on the left or the right. And then sometimes, Kevin, you could actually just miss the whole obstacle itself. Like you can just totally avoid it. And so that's part of it. And I love coaching, but also like I enjoy finding business stuff and finding investors for other people's companies. And I mean, there's some different facets of me that like a lot of people aren't aware. And here's the thing is, I don't just want to do one, I want to do them all, because I feel like I'm talented in all of them.
Well, you're a young guy. You've got lots of time to do them all. And I encourage you to do that, because that's your mission. That's your passion. That's what you love to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing too is like when I was a small kid, I always wanted to be an author. And so, that's what I've been working on, is like this book. And there's just these different goals that I was like, I always want to do this. And then I realized like there's something inside of me that is pushing me. There's something that's guiding me to be bigger and better and those type of things. And I feel whenever you start getting those little hunches and those nudges of like, hey, I want to start a business. Okay, well, let's go. Let's start it. Let's get those other people together and like have some type of mastermind and say, hey, I want to do this. Like, how can I help? What would you think about this? I feel like a lot of people are afraid of other people's opinions, because a lot of people will say, hey, no, you don't need to. They have to worry about their self-sabotage too, is that they're worried about, hey, their limitations. They want to try to limit you.
Which is
are you okay?
Yep. Thank you. Which is really a shame, because we have all got, and then, which I say in the opening, we're all born great. We spend a lot of our life having people tell us that you ain't so great. And to have a coach like you who can then say, no, wait a minute. What you were told is wrong. You are great, but you can be greater. You can do more than you think you can. Because isn't that the difference between, take two super athletes, the difference between the two of them, they're both in shape. They both can jump. They both can shoot. But one who's got the mindset, Michael Jordan type, who's got the mindset that he cannot be beat, that's the one that will be successful more so than the other guy. And that's kind of the things you're trying to instill in them, isn't it?
Yeah. So everything's mindset, and it's also work ethic and self-discipline. Like I can't make somebody do something. They have to want it. So really what I do, Kevin, is I look and I inspire them. I want it to come from within for them. And sometimes maybe their light is out. And so I don't know if you're familiar about the analogy, but like I'll share it with the listeners. But like if I have a lighter and it's on, right? But if I take that lighter and I dump it in a glass of water, I can't flick it. The flame won't come on. But what I can do is I can come over here with a flame, and if somebody pushes the button, both flames will come on. It's the same way. It's just, it's inspiring. And so I tell people all the time, I'm looking for people who are just tired of being where they're at. And they've had these obstacles and they've had this adversity. And so I tell people, I help people overcome adversity in unlikely and untimely circumstances. Take my story that you think is like this big, huge mountain, Mount Everest, and look at your stories like they're just bigger. They're big anthills. If that inspires you to be able to push through what you got to do, then do it. That's what I tell people. But really, my mountain was just a mountain. I don't like comparing stuff about like that. I just don't. And maybe I've just grown so much as far as certain things and been around the right type of people that were just like, I just went through a mountain, man. Like it was just my mountain. I made it how big I wanted, how small I want. And that's the way I look at all these obstacles. It's like, I just look at it as like, hey, it's a mountain now.
Well, and it's a matter of perspective too, because if you understand that, because we all have experiences, both good and bad. And if we can rise through the experiences and understand that all the experiences that we have in life are designed for our betterment and our well-being, and we can then not wallow in the negative experiences, but say, well, that really sucked, and move on from it, so that you can live the life that you were born to live. And everybody was born with a great life that they can live. But sometimes, Dwayne, you need a coach. You need somebody outside of yourself who can look at those dark spots that you can't see. And that's why what the work that you do is so important, especially to young kids that are just getting started, is you can help them discover and get through their blind spots. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's because I've had the experience and I've had that perspective to be able to say, hey, this is what I would do in this situation. I'm not telling you where to do, like, here's your choice. But I truly believe, like, even in business, in anything, I believe in two things: plan and get a mentor, or get a mentor and then have them help you establish a plan. I prefer part two, but a lot of people want to do it themselves. And honestly, there's just certain levels that you're just not capable of doing. There's a certain point that YouTube videos just are not going to get you the results you want. And then guess what? You're going to think, oh, I'm incapable of doing this because I'm the problem. And that's really not the case. It was just you're not getting the correct information and you're not getting the person to help support you.
Well, and we've discussed on the show many, many times that Einstein made mistakes. The guy who developed the light bulb, what was his name?
Benjamin Franklin.
Thank you. And we've all made mistakes, and that's how we learn. We learn through things that we don't get exactly right, because then we can say, I ain't going to do that again. But a lot of times somebody to motivate, coaches in my life have been the most motivating, wonderful human beings that have given me the perspective that I have. And with a good coach, you can do anything. I'm telling you, man, you can do anything.
Yeah, I mean, and so I also do business coaching, and like I understand it. I mean, I was mentored by some people who've really done it, and I've had people who are, they've also have done it multi times. That's the other thing, is like when you're able to do it once, some people would just say it's lucky, and even them will say sometimes it's lucky, but it's really not. It's when you're able to do it multiple times, and when you're saying, okay, well, this business might fail, but guess what? I'll just rebuild it because I know I'm capable of doing it.
And by the way, everybody, we have been talking with Dwayne Morton, and to go to his website, which is Show Up to Win, two with a two, and to win.com. And we've just got a minute left. I would love for you to tell us anything that you would like us to know.
Yeah, just begin. Begin is the most important thing. Whatever you're facing, whatever you want to go through, whatever obstacle, don't think about tomorrow. Don't think about doing it next week. Don't think about it when it's most convenient. Convenience is really just an excuse. Like, just begin. Begin to be better. Begin to be more positive. Begin to be more grateful. So just begin.
I agree with you 100%, Dwayne. And by the way, Jason says, great information, you guys. You must fail to have success. And by the way, I have 1,040 Positive Talk radio shows up and all over the world. But you know what? If I didn't do the first one, I wouldn't have any of it.
Yes, exactly.
So that is so great. It's awesome for you to be here. Thank you so much. You're going to have to come back. And again, Dwayne Morton, go to his website again, which is showuptowin.com. And thank you, young man. You are just awesome.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much for the listeners. Appreciate you guys.
Indeed. And hopefully somebody will call you. And you've had a bunch of people listening the whole time. So thank you, everybody, for listening. And we'll be back at 3 p.m. with another episode Pacific time. Thanks for listening to this episode of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. Our purpose is to provide everyone with a positive, entertaining, and educational experience. I would love your feedback and comments about the show, including possible topics and great guest suggestions. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro. And remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got. That's Kevin at KM.